Hello, my name is Cheryl Meyer, otherwise known as Cheryl M. Health Muse, and I am a health coach. I want to welcome you to my podcast, It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health. This is a weekly show that will share lifestyle changes that you can make to support your health yourself. Why do I want to share this information with you? 7 years ago, after being a business owner for 20 years, I woke up one morning in horrific pain where every bone and every joint in my body hurt. I went to the doctor, she ran lots of tests, and then she ran some more, and then she ran some more, and finally she called me and announced she was going to give me steroids, but there was absolutely nothing wrong with me and I should seek therapy. I knew something was wrong, I hurt. So she told me I would be on steroids for the rest of my life, and I refused that I was going to have a life of pain and pills. So why was I going to take steroids if there was nothing wrong with me? So I dug in and started researching, and I turned my business over to my staff. I found a functional doctor who confirmed that I had autoimmune disease. By making a series of significant lifestyle changes that I could do for myself, 5 years later, I had returned to relative health. The best part is that I am now 70, and I feel better now than I did when I was 50. I no longer hurt, which is huge. I will always have autoimmune disease, but losing the pain has been amazing. I went back to school at 67 and became a health coach because I want to share everything that I learned with others. And I wrote a book called It Feels Good to Feel Good, Learn to Eliminate Toxins, Reduce Inflammation, and Feel Great Again, as the manual I wished that I had had when I got sick, and my book has won 13 awards. So whether you want to future-proof your health and grow old with dignity and grace without dementia and chronic pain and disease, which you don't need to get, or whether or not you already have a chronic condition like autoimmune disease or cancer or heart disease, and you want to learn about what things you can do to improve your long-term health, or whether you want to improve the health of your families and raise healthy children, because 53% of our children have a chronic condition, I look forward to sharing all this information with you. I will tell you, it truly does feel good to feel good, so let's get started. I look forward to having you join me here every week, and I want to give you hope that if you have chronic pain or chronic disease, you can make changes that will improve your health. And if you don't want to go there, you're going to be fine if you listen to the show and put these things into work. I want to give you information so that you can grow old and have a better tomorrow. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. Hello, welcome to another edition of It Feels Good to Feel Good, Future-Proof Your Health. Last session, I talked about skin and how skin is an inside job, and at the very end, I talked about weight, because weight is an inside job, and I don't believe in dieting. I believe in eating for health, and that will solve a multitude of health issues in your body. But I want to back up a little bit this week and talk about inflammation. I want to talk about leaky gut, leaky lung, and leaky brain, because they all impact the health of our body. And it all comes back down to we need to be eating real food that was grown as locally as possible, so that when it's picked, it lands on our table pretty quickly so that we get the maximum amount of nutrients from our food. And if we do that and we're eating organic, so we're not getting an unhealthy dose of toxins when we're eating our food, then a lot of the problems that we're having with our health as a nation won't be there, because they're there because we're eating junk. We're eating fast food and we're eating processed food, which are not giving our body anything to function on. And so our body's breaking down, and it's showing up differently on each person. And the main focus today is going to be acne, but I wanted to go back and explain a little bit about how leaky gut works and why it's so important to eat the rainbow, because if you're eating the rainbow, it will help your skin and the things that are presenting on your skin, whether they're eczema or psoriasis or acne, you'll have a head start to get them under control and not have that as a health issue. Okay? So, what is leaky gut? It starts off that all of those things, psoriasis, eczema, and acne, are connected to chronic illness, and they're different types of autoimmune diseases. And there's over 100 of them now. There's actually over 140 named autoimmune diseases now, and I have one of them, but of course mine is not a named one. I have what's called undefined autoimmune disease. And I follow the functional medical community who doesn't really care what the name of it is, especially in the groundbreaking times of your disease when it's just starting. Because if you can nip it in the bud by eating correctly, you can probably stop it from presenting itself in your body. And I was lucky because I had a doctor who had no clue what was wrong with me, so when I attacked it, I caught it early so that it never became MS or lupus or psoriasis or eczema or acne. So I was very lucky that I dug in and started lowering my toxic load early so that it didn't become one of the named diseases. It is still, however, full-blown autoimmune disease. And so the name of it is not as important as the remedy, at least in the early days. And so that's what I want to talk to you, because it's critical that you understand that if you're having a problem with acne on your body, it will help you get it under control. Autoimmune diseases are rapidly rising in the United States. Now, I had a whole show on what is autoimmune disease and what is inflammation, so you can go back and listen to that, or you can just listen to me for a minute while I do a quick recap so that you understand what's going on in your body if it is showing itself in any of these ways. If it's coming out on your skin, it still is connected to autoimmune disease and inflammation. In my case, I had joint pain and muscle pain. It shows itself in the early days in different places, in different people, because it attacks wherever your weakest point is. Okay? So healing any of these diseases start with you taking care of your gut. So it's really important that you understand why it's so important that you eat the rainbow. And I have a whole show on eating the rainbow, which you can go back and get information in depth on, but I still am going to go over it quickly here. Healing the gut, healing disease starts with the gut. So what happens is your gut is where your food gets digested. So things go into your gut and it goes through its mechanism to start to break down the food into a little tiny particle that then will pass through your gut wall and get into your bloodstream, and then it goes over to your liver. There's a series of things that can cause that piece of food to not break down to the right size. It could be toxins in your cosmetics. It could be toxins sprayed on your food, like glyphosate, which is Roundup. It could be GMOs, which is Bt toxin that's grown right in your food. It could be parasites that are stopping you from proper digestion. It could be stress. Now, stress was a huge issue for me. I knew I was stressed. I thought it was helping me get more done on my job because I had my own business. Ends up it was slowing down my productivity, and learning how to deal with my stress not only allowed me to heal my gut, but allowed me to be more productive at the same time. It could be sugar, which is a highly addictive substance that's loaded in processed food and fast food, and you don't need all that sugar. It's terrible for you, and it also interrupts your digestion. It actually interrupts every organ in your body, so getting your sugar under control is really important if you want to keep your health at a premium level, because the more sugar you eat, the more destructive you're being to different parts of your body. I am planning sometime early next year to do a sugar detox. So if anybody knows that they have an issue with sugar, you can come join me for 3 weeks. And as a group, we're going to ditch the sugar. But one of the things that all of these things do, especially the stress and the sugar, and a lack of 7 hours of quality sleep, is there's a new discovery that at the end of our DNA, there's something called telomeres. And telomeres get shortened if we are interrupting our processes in our gut. Sugar shortens our telomeres on our DNA. Lack of sleep, not quality sleep, shortens the telomeres at the end of our DNA. Toxins shorten the telomeres at the end of our DNA. And what happens when they get shortened is they speed up aging and they impact our skin as well as every other organ in our body. So it's important that you know what's causing all this havoc in your gut, because that is the ground level of disease, of chronic diseases. And chronic diseases include heart disease and cancer. And with all of us together, it ends up, whether we're in full-blown chronic disease or we're on our way towards chronic disease. In America at the moment, that's 90% of us, which, by the way, also makes us more vulnerable to the coronavirus. So all of this is important to understand how the pieces fit together. Even though today I want to talk about skin and I want to talk about acne, it's all the same mechanism. You have to eat nutrients so that your body has quality building supplies, because if you don't, it doesn't have anything to utilize to keep your body functions going properly. So a leaky gut is when food particles start pushing up against the wall of our gut, which is only 1 cell thick. It's actually even thinner than tissue paper. That's how thin it is. It's like the point on a pin thick. So it doesn't take a lot for your gut to have these little leaks, although your gut replaces itself every 6 days. So if it has quality building supplies, it's constantly rebuilding so that nothing gets through. But if it doesn't have quality building supplies, eventually it can't keep up, and the stuff starts to go through to your blood, and then your body does exactly what it was built to do. It screams foreigner, and then it starts to attack somewhere in your body. Now, as I said, for me it was my joints and my muscles. For somebody else it might be psoriasis or eczema or acne. For somebody else it might be your kidneys. For somebody else it might be your liver. For someone else it might be IBS in your lower intestine. But it attacks somewhere. It mimics some other part of your body. And so it's really important when I'm talking about eating the rainbow that you pay attention to that, because that will ward off all of those diseases down the line. It also could go and create cancer in your body. For a long time, they weren't connecting inflammation and cancer, but they now know that inflammation directly attacks the body and can show itself as cancer. It can also show itself as heart disease, and 1/3 of the people who are going to die this year are going to die from heart disease. I just did a podcast with a wonderful guy who at 40 had double bypass surgery. They went in to do the 3rd one, and his heart just couldn't handle it. And so he got a stern lecture when he came out of that ER, and he has now devoted his life to cleaning up his lifestyle, because he knows how important it is to his heart health if he wants to live a long and happy life that's healthy, that he's got to take care of his heart. And he just had a baby, so he's got a lot to live for. Okay, so bad things, toxins in cosmetics, toxins in processed and fast food, toxins in our cleaning supply, toxins in our environment, toxins in our water, and the plastic leaching into our water. All those things cause leaky gut, and then they show themselves someplace in the body. But there's proactive things that you can do, and that's what I want to talk to you about. Now, the body is very resilient. And what was surprising to me, because I didn't attack this and become proactive until after I got sick, is the body really wants to heal you. It doesn't want to be sick, but you got to give it the right stuff so that it can heal you. It is estimated that 50 to 75 million people already have autoimmune disease, and 75% of those people are women. They're 3 times more likely to get autoimmune disease than men are. And there's been a 300% increase in autoimmune disease. We're 37th in the world in health, and it's because of what we eat. John and I have only been married for 5 years. We've been to Europe twice, and they eat so much cleaner in England and especially in France, because they're very farm to table in France. And so their populations, even though they are also sophisticated industrial countries, their food supply is cleaner, so their population is cleaner. And the big statistic, which if you've watched me, you know I am the most disturbed by, is that over 50% of our children have chronic illness. So if you are raising children, you need to start with cleaning up their food and encouraging them to become little veggie rangers that want to eat quality food, because food quality matters. So, we already explained what leaky gut is. What you don't know is that 60 to 80% of our immunity is actually in our gut. It has a semi-permeable lining that's 1 cell thick, and on that wall are little fingers like a shag carpet. And that shag carpet is something like cheesecloth. That's why things can eventually go through to our blood. That's the way it was designed. The body truly is a miracle, so that when we eat, it goes through that cheesecloth so that we can get the nourishment out to all of our cells so that they can use all those fabulous building blocks to keep us spry and healthy. There is sometimes bacteria in our gut food. Some of it is good bacteria and some of it is bad bacteria. When it's good bacteria, it helps us break down the food to the right size, and that's important. But when it's bad bacteria, it starts to create havoc in our gut as well, and can also cause little holes in our gut wall. If your digestion isn't working correctly, if you don't have enough good gut bacteria, then those large chunks of food are not yet broken down to be amino acids, which is what they need to be. Digestion is supposed to destroy the name tags on the food so that when it goes through, it's the right size, the blood system gets it, they go, ooh, I know what that is, and they send it off to go do its work. Over time, you build up antibodies against any food that's been slipping through a lot. And what happens is you could actually get a sensitivity to that food. I got a sensitivity to chicken. That stunned me because I used to eat so much chicken I thought I was going to cluck. But I ate too much chicken and it went through too often and my body started to rebel against it. So I can't eat chicken because it makes me blow up immediately with inflammation, and that causes me pain in my joints and my muscles. And remember, it's all because those particles, when they go through, they've lost their name tag. So they go through something called molecular mimicry. They attack you where you're weak in your body. So what are all the things that do that? I mentioned them quickly. Food sensitivities are one. Toxins. I found toxins everywhere. I eliminated hundreds of them, which is how I went from horrible pain and not even being able to get out of bed to being able to function again without pain and being a full member of society again. I didn't like it when I was bedridden, and I certainly didn't like it when I was in pain, but I did the things that I needed to do to heal my gut to get myself back and on my feet. Chemicals. There are 80,000 chemicals in our environment, and more than 1,700 chemicals are introduced every year. The safety of each of those chemicals is left up to the manufacturer. And so last week we talked about how many chemicals are in cosmetics. And I have a couple rules of thumb that you've heard me say before, but I want to say again because we're sort of doing an overview here. If you don't know what it is, then you need to look it up or you need to not buy it. If you can't pronounce it, most likely it's something that's not good for you. It's synthetic. It's something your body won't recognize. So you need to put it back on the shelf. And there is something called GRAS, which means that the manufacturer has checked it for a short period of time and it's generally considered to be safe. But what that means is they haven't really checked it long enough, or they cut the study off before it came to its full conclusion. So you need to take responsibility for all of this and make sure you know what you're putting on and in your body. And one thing that I discovered when I started looking things up, and you look them up on ewg.org, which will flash over this when my husband produces this podcast. There's a huge giant database there where you can look everything up, and it's not particularly user friendly. So I learned to start at the bottom. The last ingredient on the label is the one that's in the least amount on the product. And if that's toxic, whether it's in your food or in your face cream or in your cleaning supply, if that's a toxic item, you don't need that whole item, put it back. Because if it's in that little tiny item, it's in probably all the other items on that label. So learn to read labels, learn to know what you're looking for, and be proactive and look them up so that you know whether or not you're poisoning yourself or your family by using them. Alcohol can also create leaky gut. Red wine is better for you than other alcohol, but if you have a lot of pain or you have a lot of inflammation, you might consider at least temporarily giving the alcohol up. Why? Because when it leaks through into your bloodstream, it goes over to your liver. And your liver is what cleanses all of these things back out of your body. It grabs all those toxins and tries to ditch them because it's going to cause harm to you. So if you're drinking alcohol at the same time as you have inflammation, that's very hard on your liver, and your liver needs your loving support. So if you have inflammation, you should be taking really good care of your liver by taking milk thistle and alpha lipoic acid and some things. Those are the things that I use. Check with your doctor before you add any supplement to your diet, but that's what I use to support my liver so that it can support me in detoxing my body. Wheat. If you are gluten sensitive, wheat can cause leaky gut and it can create havoc all over your body. There is a gluten test, and if you go to the doctor, which is Dr. Tom O'Brien, Obryan, he has a whole list of practitioners who are especially good at working with gluten sensitivities. So that's a great resource for you if you think you might have a gluten problem. You could even be having a problem with leaky gut if there's a lot of smoke in the air, which we certainly have here in the Los Angeles basin because of all the fires that we've had this year. So understand different things cause leaky gut, but you need to be very cognizant and always be eating real quality fruits and vegetables so that you keep that gut healthy and working properly. Toxic metals can cause leaky gut. Radiation can cause leaky gut. Stress creates all kinds of havoc in your gut, and it creates leaky gut. And so, that's something that you need to get control of. My second show is on Voice America, and it's on stress. So I talk about ways to control stress, and I probably will do another stress show next year because it's so important that we keep our stress below what I call the toxic level. We all deal with stress, but it doesn't have to be chronic or toxic, and when it is, it creates havoc in the gut, and it also impacts every organ in our body. There are some drugs that cause havoc to our gut, steroids and acids. I don't know how you pronounce it, but NSAIDs, the ibuprofen and the Aleve and aspirin, acid blockers are all believed to contribute to leaky gut. And I know one thing that I was having a lot of was acid reflux when I was getting sick. I didn't realize that that was connected to the inflammation I was dealing with in my body. So understand they're all connected. And if you have any symptom that's with you all the time, then be proactive and start to do your research about what you can do about it naturally at the same time that you go to your medical practitioner and start working with how to resolve that in any other way that he might want to suggest. Poor sleep impacts the gut. Poor breathing. Now, poor breathing is interesting. There's a new book out called Breath, and he declares that he thinks poor breathing causes more inflammation than almost anything else because it directly impacts the gut, and it also impacts the lining of our lungs and causes little junctures to open up in our lung wall, causing something called leaky lung. And it also impacts our immune system. And what do they recommend? They recommend you eat a lot of carnivorous vegetables and a lots of fruits and vegetables of all the color. So leaky gut and leaky gut both have the same solution. So what are you going to eat? You're going to make sure that you're eating the rainbow to keep your body healthy. And I haven't even talked a little bit about, they used to not think that the brain regenerated itself and regrew cells, and they now know that's not true. And they also now know that the blood-brain barrier gets leaky. And so if we don't want to lose our minds and get dementia, eating all of the real fruits and vegetables also will lower our probability of getting something called leaky brain. Early symptoms of leaky gut are poor digestion, how you poop, whether it's too loose or too hard, fatigue, depression. I don't know if you know this, but depression, serotonin is mostly made in the gut. So if I wake up one morning and I'm feeling a little bit low, I take a look at what have I been eating, because if I then add all the colors of the rainbow back into my diet that day, my depression disappears because I'm feeding the ability for my gut to make serotonin, which is my happy hormone. So that's great. Headaches, bad skin, and that includes psoriasis, eczema, and acne. Pain. Having the pain was awful. To any of you out there that share that with me, start with food, eat the rainbow. You'll be surprised. It may only take 3 or 4 weeks and you will start to feel a difference in your body. And swelling. I have swelling around my ankles. I had swelling in my hands. I could see it in my face. And so it does appear physically to the world when you have inflammation, so pay attention to it. I was not paying attention to what my toxic load was building, and so I toppled over the top into autoimmune disease. Once you do that, you don't go back, but at least I reversed the pain. I will always have autoimmune disease, but I will not have the pain anymore, I hope, because I'm very cognizant to control what I'm putting in my body. Food can be the slowest form of poison, and your body can become sensitive to it. My phrase is, food can make you well, or food can make you sick as hell. So it's really important that you think about all the processed food that you're eating and all the fast food that you're eating, which is even worse, and that you start to replace it with real food. Now, I work with clients, and I struggle with them because they like the convenience of eating processed food. We eat a little bit, but what little we eat usually has 5 ingredients or less, and they're all real items. I know what they all are. I buy a tomato sauce that has 5 items in it, and I buy it in a jar because I don't want the chemicals that it's pulling out of the can in the other form to be going into my body. So everything we put into our body, we control. And it's not that we're deprived. We eat really yummy food, so you don't have to, and it doesn't have to take too long. I'm working with someone right now, and she's been eating frozen dinners, but we're working on healing her liver and doing all the lifestyle habits that will support it. And so I suggested that she make something like a meatloaf on Sunday and that she put all kinds of vegetables in that meatloaf, which is how I make it. I put carrots and red pepper and all kinds of yummy things into the meatloaf, and then I roll it, and then I bake it, and then cut it into pieces and freeze it in her freezer so that when she gets home at night, she can just, or when she gets up in the morning before she goes to work, she just pulls one of those containers out and it's all ready for her when she walks in the door. And she's eating that with organic frozen vegetables, which is fine with me because she's getting all the nutrients that she needs, both from her grass-fed, grass-finished meatloaf that has all of the colors of the rainbow in it, and then she's getting it with the frozen vegetables. There are ways to eat just as quickly without relying on processed food and fast food, and your body will celebrate. So if you stop in the morning and you ask your body, how are you feeling? When you start to eat real food for a while, your body's going to tell you it's feeling pretty darn good, so it's worth it. You got to eliminate the sugar. You have to add in healthy fats. Now, healthy fats are omega-3 fats, and all the vegetable oils are omega-6 fats. And that's what's in processed food, omega-6 fats. So you don't want those. You want the avocado oil. Butter is okay, especially if it's organic butter, because then it doesn't have the hormones and all the things they're putting into that poor cow. It's clean. I use ghee because I'm sensitive to dairy, but when they take the milk products solids out, I can eat it again. Grapeseed oil is fine. Rice oil is fine. So there are, coconut oil is fine. All of those are good omega-3 oils. And then you want to supplement your omega-3 oils by eating wild-caught fish, which is also super good for you. And you can get omega-3 oils from flaxseed and from hemp seed, which are also super good for you. You want some glutamine, which you get from beans, cabbage, beets, spinach, and parsley. And you can also get it in a supplemental form. And then you want to work on your breathing. Breathing exercise, lower your stress, expand your lungs, heal your wall of your lungs. It's good all the way around, and they help heal the wall of your gut. So the bottom line of all this is, isn't the body amazing? Because it gives us the things that are right in our world that we can utilize to keep our bodies healthy. And so without going through that, when I get to acne, it's not going to make a lot of sense. So I'm ready to move into acne, because anybody out there is having a problem with that, that's really what this show is all about. And while I'm talking about all of those things, I also just want to mention, if anybody's having a weight problem, you need to start eating for health and not to diet. If you start eating all the fruits and vegetables of all the colors of the rainbow and you're eating for your health, your body will start to release the weight automatically. Don't diet, don't count calories, because if you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're eating alkaline and you're eating a low-calorie diet. So it's not important to be counting calories anymore. Your body will be happy. It will come to an even keel because you're eating for your health. And when everything is working properly in your body and you're not eating sugar, which is it's telling your brain that you want to eat more because it's mucking around with your appetite hormones, then the weight will start to drop because you're not overeating anymore. It's not about willpower, it's about eating for your health. Now, why is it important to eat all the colors of the rainbow? Just quickly, each color offers something different. Several of them offer benefits for skin. Red, orange, and yellow and green all offer all kinds of benefits for your skin. The purples and the blues and offer benefits for your inflammation, which keeps your gut healthy, which keeps your body healthy. And then the whites are often probiotics, which mean they feed the good gut bacteria in your stomach. So eating all the colors is really important, and together they get together, they have a synergy, and they party. People are always looking for the magic pill, and guess what? The magic pill is not probably going to be a pharmaceutical. The magic pill is eating all the colors of the rainbow and letting them party in your body to create health. I'm going over here, so I'm going to skip right to the acne section. Okay, so last show we talked about psoriasis and eczema, but I didn't explain the whole leaky gut concept and the whole inflammation concept, so I wanted to go back to that today. But today I want to talk about acne. I recently was a guest on an esthetician show, and so we started talking about what you could do to have super healthy skin. You want to get outside for 10 minutes of sunshine every day because you want to get that vitamin D. You want to eat foods that are loaded with vitamin A. And what are those foods? Beef liver, cod liver oil, not my favorite, but black-eyed peas, sweet red pepper, carrots. Now, carrots are something I actually put into my salads and into my meatloafs because they're really good for me and they're loaded with beta-carotene. Butternut squash, loaded with beta-carotene as well as other things. Spinach, cantaloupe, red peppers, and broccoli. They all have a high amount of vitamin A, which is super good for your skin. You want to eat more foods that are high in zinc. What's high in zinc? Oysters, grass-fed, grass-finished beef, dark organic chicken leg, firm organic tofu. Now, if you're going to eat tofu, you want to make sure that your tofu is organic because 95% of tofu is genetically modified. And that's really why you want to eat the grass-fed, grass-finished beef, because then you're eating an animal who is eating his own species-specific diet, and he's not getting GMO grains like corn. And just to remind you, GMOs either have Bt toxin in them or they have glyphosate, which is Roundup, and you don't need either one in your body. Lean pork chops. I look for heritage pork. There's a store here in my area that carries it, but you want pastured pork as well as pastured beef. Lentils are really good for you. They're high in zinc. Organic oatmeal has zinc, and hemp seeds, which I actually sometimes make hemp milk by throwing a lot of hemp seeds into my Vitamix and adding filtered water because it's really good for me, and there's lots of goodness in hemp seeds. You also want to eat your probiotics and your prebiotics. You want to take a supplement for probiotics, and then you want to feed them with the white foods, which are the jicama and the garlic and the onions and the leeks and the artichokes and bananas, raspberries, blueberries, and asparagus. They're not white, but they will feed your gut bacteria, and that's all really good. Then you want to help your liver, which we talked about, and you want to eat liver supportive foods, which are broccoli, cauliflower, pears, and apples. And pears and apples are important for their high fiber. And then eat other high fiber foods, which include nuts and seeds. You want to be discriminating with what you use topically on your skin. Now, cosmetic companies are not regulated. So looking up your cosmetics is a really important thing for you to do, especially if you have psoriasis, eczema, or acne, because it's your largest organ on your body and it is a double pathway. Everything goes in through your skin and toxins come out of your skin. So be very discriminating what you use on your skin. I use a product called Keys Pure because it is very low in toxins and I really love it. And my face cream also has an SPF in it, and a lot of sun products are very damaging to the body, and this one is very low in toxins all the way around. So it protects me from too much sun and it keeps my skin healthy and happy and subtle, and I'm not putting anything toxic on my face. So you can either look it up on ewg.org or you can use an app called Skin Deep that EWG has put out that can go right onto your phone, or you can use an app called Think Dirty that you just scan the square code that's on products and it will tell you what its rating is and how toxic it is. There are also lots of essential oils if you're using real essential oils and not synthetic essential oils that you can mix with a carrier oil. Now I use coconut oil, so I'll take any of these and add it to coconut oil and then use it on my face if I have an issue with acne. And the oils that are really good to do this with are tea tree oil, lavender oil, rosemary oil, oregano oil, which also has some antibiotic properties, frankincense oil. Frankincense is one of my most favorite oils. It is not inexpensive, but it is worth its weight in gold. Frankincense, I make a miracle cream in coconut cream that I sell only to my friends. And it has a lot of frankincense in it because it can actually go through the brain barrier. So it's very healthy for every cell in your body. And it's very soothing if you are having a problem with acne. And then I use coconut oil as my carrier oil, but you can find other healthy carrier oils that have good properties for this. You want to make sure that you get enough sleep. You want to make sure that you eliminate as many toxins as possible from your life, because by doing all of that, you're going to have healthier skin. And if you're trying to do it with your doctor, have a robust conversation with him because he's probably giving you a pharmaceutical, and you might want to see if you can clean up your skin in a natural way, because a lot of the medications that are used for acne are really hard on the body. So again, I want to encourage you to do your own research and then go back to your doctor and have a robust conversation with them. I'm not suggesting that you not follow your doctor's orders, but no one knows your body like you do. So do your own research and then go have a conversation with him about that so that you know that what you're putting on your body isn't one of these pharmaceuticals that's going to cause you all kinds of trouble. The medications that are harmful to the body could be, so look them up and then talk to him about it, Accutane, Absorbica, Amnesteem, Clarivis, Myorcian, Sotrit, Zenatane. They're all brand names, but they all have serious side effects, as does Minocycline, Minocycline. Those can all have a downside, like many medications. Doesn't mean you don't take it, but it means that you know what you're using and you discuss it with your doctor. And remember, it all is going to come down and go through your liver and create havoc in your body, and then it shows up on your face. So be wary of antibiotics that kill the good bacteria on your skin as well as the bad bacteria on your skin. So do your research and then do the lifestyle changes that will support your body from the inside out so that you get all that acne under control, because beauty truly is an inside job, and that's what you need to be doing. If you're a teenager and you're having eruptions, it's probably connected to hormones. It's also connected to hormones if you're on birth control pills and you're having eruptions. So eating the rainbow will also help you keep your hormones in range, but that's a place where you might want to work with your doctor to make sure that your body is functioning optimally. I know that if you have a gluten sensitivity, that can create all kinds of havoc with your hormones, so that might be a place that you want to do some research and check out the people who deal directly with gluten. And gluten is the elastic stuff that's in wheat. So if you think you might have a gluten possibility and you think that might be mucking with your hormones, then eliminate bread for 3 weeks and see if your skin clears up. But if it's a hormonal issue, your doctor can run some tests. So that would be a time when you definitely would want to work with a doctor. But remember, if he gives you any of the antibiotics, you need to do your research, you need to go back to him, and you need to have robust conversations, because you might want to only be using those for short periods of time and not long periods of time. One last comment: a conventional dermatologist or medical doctor is always a good partner, but start with what you can do yourself and then work with him to add things to that will complement your healthy lifestyle. And hopefully, if you adopt my healthy habits, you will not have the problems with your skin. I mentioned last time that I worked with a psoriasis patient when I first started as a coach, and we just cleaned up his diet. He had had a problem with psoriasis his whole life. Horrible patches of psoriasis his whole life. And by cleaning up what he ate and switching to grass-fed, glass-finished meats, and drinking lots of water that was filtered, because he took the toxins out of the water that were going into his body, and by using the essential oils in a carrier oil and dabbing those on his problem areas, his skin cleaned up like 90% in a fairly short period of time. So try the holistic method and then go to the more toxic, possibly pharmaceuticals that your doctor is recommending, but know what you're using, okay? I have a whole blog on this on my website, so you can check that there if you want to go over any of this information. But anything that's showing up on the outside of your body is a product of what's going on the inside of your body, and it all starts with what you're eating and what you're feeding your body, okay? Thank you. That's my whole show for today. Thank you for joining me. I'm really happy to have you here, and we'll be back next week.